Hello world, this is Lil D man, TLR, MLK, trust, loyalty, respect, move like a king. I just got doing a live interview with OG Hollywood, man. Make sure y'all tune in, man. Salute.
Yo, this your boy CEO Hockley. Real quick, man. Today's episode is being sponsored by OGHollywoodspeaks.com. Yes, that's right. OGHollywoodspeaks.com has this fly gear, man. Savage Drive, man. He has this very fly gear, man. He's a former prisoner that changed his life, did 25 years after receiving a life sentence, got home, and he been home 10 years, man. He's been out, he's been free 10 years. He has his own clothing line called Savage Drive. It represents the kind of drive you need to have to make it to the top, the kind of drive you need to have to stay free, right? And as we talk about this prison topic, I want to highlight and show and give respects to those that have been to prison and that are doing the right things in today's society. Everybody go to OGHollywoodspeaks.com and get that Savage Drive. If you got the drive it takes to be successful, man, support him. Also, you can follow him on YouTube. You can follow him on all social medias at OGHollywoodspeaks.com. We appreciate the support here at CEO Talk, and we also like to support other black people doing something positive, man. Savage Drive, that is the clothing line. Get yours today. Salute.
What's good, man? We back in the building, Y'all already know what time it is. Mr. 110. Keep it nothing but 110 all the way across the board. And y'all already know at the Ferguson Chronicles, nothing is ever scripted, man. However, this is the people's channel. Without the people, it wouldn't be no channel. I like to say this. If you have a story and you feel like you can't tell it, contact me at the Ferguson Chronicle, and guess what? We can get your story out there, right? However, today I have an individual in the studio, man, by the name of Lil D. He's here to tell his time spent in what I call that concrete jungle. Once again, he's here to tell his story and his time spent in that concrete jungle. Keep in mind, nothing is ever scripted at the Ferguson Chronicle. And that's facts, man. So without further ado, let's tap in with Lil D, please. What's good, D?
What's going on, my man? You all right?
Oh man, I'm doing better than most. If that counts for anything.
That's right.
If that counts for anything, you know what I'm saying? I'm always doing good as long as I'm on this side of the fence, man. The only people that's not able to do what they feel like they need to do is the people that's incarcerated, right?
Right.
And that's facts, man. But I always like to say money is time and time is money, man. So guess what? We got to get this thing going, man.
Let's roll.
So do me a favor, man. Go ahead and tell the people where you're from, what led to the prison, man.
Man, I'm from a small town called Sherman, Texas, man. You know, it's a little country town up there by Oklahoma. And what led me to prison was my decision making, not listening. Mama tried to tell me things, my pops tried to tell me things, and just when you don't listen and you steady lying and you steady doing wrong, and you put negative energy out there into the world, that's what's gonna happen to you. You reap what you sow. My grandma always told me that. So with that being said, it came back on me tenfold.
And what year did you arrive in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice?
Man, I got there in 2018.
2018, right? 2018. Let's talk about 2018, man.
Okay.
First and foremost, man, what unit did you arrive at in 2018?
Man, I went to Gurney, man. April 11th, I'll never forget. I arrived there. The Gurney unit in Palestine, Texas.
And arriving to the Gurney unit, what was it like for you when you pulled up to the Gurney unit, man?
It was it was life changing. It was an experience because I had never been through anything like that before. So this is actually my first time even getting in some type of trouble to begin with. So to be able to get on, that bus that we call the Bluebird, and to be chained up to another individual was just life changing to me, and being shackled, and then getting told what to do, what to eat, and how to do this and how to do that. Man, it was just life changing. So when I first got there, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was a little nervous. I was scared. I didn't know what to expect because I was small, I was little, and you hear stories about it. So, but you don't really understand the full concept unless you go through that.
So, man, I like to say this, man, that these is real life people with real life stories, man. And I'm talking to the people, man. As y'all can see, man, lately here, it's been people coming to the screen that was only convicted their first time, and they did time in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, man. This is my third interview of an individual who had never caught a case in their life, and the first time they were sent to prison, man. So I like to say that can happen to anybody if you put yourself in the wrong place and doing the wrong thing, right?
Right.
So let me ask this, man. Uh, I always want to talk about that first day at,
Okay.
at the Gurney unit. What was it like for you your first day at the Gurney unit?
Man, my first day I was quiet. I ain't talk to nobody. And if everybody knows me, man, they know I'm a social butterfly. Man, I can talk, I can go. But being somewhere that's foreign to you, you'll tend to be kind of quiet, and sit to the back because you don't know what to expect. It's a lot of different personalities. It's a lot of different people here. Like, not a lot of people have the same mindset as you. They don't walk like you. They don't talk like you. So you have to be prepared for the unexpected. So as the old school had told me, you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
That make a lot of sense, man. And I ain't never heard nobody say that on the Ferguson Chronicles. So shout out to you for saying that. And that make a lot of sense, man.
Yes, sir.
So let me ask this, man. Uh, what job did you have the privilege of working in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice?
Man, for my time, my first job was host squad, and that's the first time I ever had a Aggie in my hand and had to cut grass because I never did that before a day of my life. So that was that was just shocking to me how that can be done. And so it was host squad, and then I left up and went to inside yard, and I was mowing grass, and that was my time at the Gurney unit right there. That were my two jobs.
Agriculture at its finest. That's what I like to call it, right?
Right.
So I want to touch bases, man, on the fields, working in the field, right?
Hmm.
Uh, and I know our ancestors was slaves years and years ago, right? So
Right.
how did that feel for you to be put in that position and knowing that you were going to do the same thing that your ancestors did, probably not for a long period of time, but you were working in the field with a man governing you on a horse. How did that make you feel? What was going through your mind when you was out there with that Aggie?
Man, to be honest with you, when I was first out there with the egg, I didn't really fully grasp the concept of working in the fields like my ancestor did. And I had little knowledge of my culture and who I am and who I come from. So I had to tap into that and really get into the books and read and really figure out who I am. And then once I figured it out, it also brought me back to when I was in the whole squad in the field. And I was like, man, my ancestors actually did this. Like, we was actually doing this, and singing spiritual hymns. Like, we was really doing this. And I just had to always, salute them and always shout them out every chance that I get because that's hard time right there. That is very hard time, and especially in heat, and it's draining, and you get aggravated, you get hungry, and we was only doing that till 10:30, 11 o'clock. Then we go right back to the dorm. Our ancestors was out there all day, so it's just really it's shocking to me.
And I know as you said the heat, right?
Yes, sir.
Because most people don't understand that when you're working in the field, it's inclement weather. In
Right.
other words, what I'm saying, if it's suitable for you to go to work, you going, right? Uh, and 2018 times have changed because I remember when I was there, it didn't make no difference whether it was suitable or not. You was going to work too hard,
Yeah.
you know. So, but I like to touch base with you on the heat part of it.
Okay.
Okay, so when you was out there working in the field in the heat, right?
Okay.
Uh, what was your mindset? At any time and point, did you ever want to lay it down?
Yes, yes, I did. The first day I wanted to lay it down, and I wanted to tell them, man, I'm not gonna do this no more. I'm finna go on about my business. I'm not gonna do this. You can write me as many cases as you want, cause I'm not gonna do this. But that's what led me to prison, though, doing it my own way and not listening. So sometimes you have to bite. You got to bite it, and you got to go ahead and do it. But it was hot. I didn't want to at all. I did not want to.
And I always like to ask this question, man, because we all see different things out there working in the field, right?
Right.
What was the worst thing to you that you've ever saw during your time in the field, if you can remember?
Man, the worst thing for me is when we went down there by that swamp over there in Gurney, man. That was the worst thing for me is going down into that swamp. And I seen like a man, I don't know how big this snake was, so I don't want to over exaggerate, but it looked like a 5 foot snake to me. It was just big, and we're steady chopping it down, steady chopping like grass and everything, and then this snake just come up out of nowhere. And I'm scared of snakes. I don't do snakes. I'm gonna take off running, and it just I'm getting away from it. But you got this one dude that grabs it and literally starts playing with it. After that, I was done. I was done with the field. After that, I'm done.
So let me ask this, man. So uh, I want to talk about the day room, right?
Okay.
And I want to talk about the people you met in the day room and the things that y'all discussed in those day rooms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if you can remember, what was the day room set up uh, when you went to Gurney? How was it set up, if you can remember?
Well, it was set up, along the walls. You got your bunks along the walls, and then in the middle is where the day room is at. So you have really no privacy whatsoever at the gurney unit because it's a transfer unit. So when you trying to lay down and you trying to get a peace of mind to grasp where you at, you really can't because you're gonna have somebody always coming up to you asking you, "Hey man, where you from? Hey man, you got this?" My first day here, I had somebody ask me for a suit. I ain't even with the commissary yet. I just got here. So it's just, them type of things right there that you have to grasp your mind around. So, and this is how the day room was set up. It's no privacy. When you take a shower, no privacy. When you use the restroom, no privacy. So that was a big adjustment for me also.
And the inmates, right? Let's talk about. I always like to talk about this, and the reason why because the things that go on in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice right now, man, and it's more people that's on drugs in prison now
Yeah.
versus when I was in there, right?
Hmm.
So, and who better to answer that question than you? You just got out,
Right.
and what was it like for you with the inmates, and also how did the inmates act that was on drugs? What was that like? How did that make you think as far as when you saw that people that's already in prison and using drugs inside of prison?
Man, I never I never seen like nobody on drugs until I got to prison. Like I have heard stories of people on drugs, and like you'll see the TV shows and movies, but nothing like real life. And what I have seen and experienced from drugs and people on them and up for 7 days, 8 days, 10 days straight, and no sleep, just on it and consistently steady taking drugs. Man, I done seen them use the restroom on themselves. I done seen them hit an officer. I done seen them hit a woman. I done seen them run butt naked through the day room, run butt naked outside into the field. Like I done seen all sorts of things with people being on drugs and what it does to them. and their mindset just goes off the charts. They'll get to thinking you're talking about them. They'll get to thinking somebody's trying to steal from them. It's just like they start hallucinating, and their mind it just goes everywhere. It's chaotic, and I have never experienced anything like that until I got to prison and actually had to sit in a dorm in the day room and actually watch this myself.
And like I said, man, this is the new thing in prison, right?
Right,
It's more inmates that use drugs versus than any time in prison, right?
right,
And let's talk about the things that TDC issued to you, like the tablets, right?
okay,
Uh, what was that like for you as far as the tablets? Because when I was there, they didn't have no tablets, and you have to write. We have to write home and things of that nature.
right,
So explain to me how the inmates get the tablets and what do they do to keep the tablets? You know,
okay. Uh, when you get your tablet issued to you, that's your tablet. Like that's just yours. It's gonna have your PIN number, your TDC number, all that on it. So that's your tablet. So they can't take that away from you. The only thing they can do to you though is if you get a case or anything like that, get in trouble, they can. I ain't gonna say. I don't like to say suspend, but they can take your privileges away for whatever amount of days they want to. 10, 15, 20, 30 days. Major case 45 and up. It just depends on what your case is, and that's the only thing that they can do to you. But how they pass it out was they shut down the whole unit for that day, and of course go by building by building by building, and pass out your tablets to you, and you make sure you got your ID presented, and that's just what they do. They just handed it to you and said, "This is your tablet. If you break it, it's $150. Crack the screen, anything along those lines, $150 to get it fixed." So you got to make sure when you get that tablet, that's your. It's like your cell phone, it's like your cell phone. So you got to make sure be careful with it, take care of it at all times.
and when you was issued your tablet, right?
Right.
And did you find some sort of relief, or should I say, some sort of extra connection to the world when that was given to you?
Yes, yes, I did because it was instead of calling or writing and waiting on a JPay, you can kind of like, of course, they got JPay on the tablet, but it's like a text message. And so you can send out much stamps as you got, many stamps as you got, as many messages you can send out. But you can receive any messages. But the only way you can respond is if you got stamps, you got money on your tablet, and you got to buy them. So it was just like a text message, man. It felt more relieved to know that I have quicker access to the world, and I can see different things. And of course, you got your movies on there, you got your games on there, news feeds on there. You can keep up with your sports, politics, and whatever else you're into. So I feel more alive with the tablet than anything else. It made time a lot more easier.
And I don't like I said, I'm not too familiar with the Gurney unit, all those units, because when I was there, I think they was just getting built or whatever, right?
Right.
Uh, so I want to ask you, during your whole stay in Texas Department of Correction, did you stay on the Gurney unit?
No, sir. I went from Gurney. I was at Gurney for 4 months. 4 months. Of course, I got into some trouble though. Then they took me and I went to the LeBlanc unit down there in Beaumont. I stayed there 4 months. Of course, got into a little trouble there. And then I ended up at the High Tower unit in Dayton, Texas. And that's where I did the rest of my time at. So from and it's crazy, 2018 to be exact, I got to High Tower unit 2018 right after Thanksgiving.
And what was it like for you pulling up at the High Tower unit versus the other two units you was on? What did you notice that was different?
Well, one is an ID unit, so you had cells, and two, you have to clean up, behind yourself. And just like at the Gurney unit and LeBlanc unit, like you learn how to clean up, but it's a different way of cleaning up. See, at the Gurney and LeBlanc unit, you can use your brooms and dustpan and stuff like that around your bunk area and mop over there and things of that nature. But when I got to the hot tower unit and it's your cell, You can't bring no broom or a mop or anything like that into your cell because that is your living arrangement. That's where you lay your head at. That's where the toilet is at. If you walk, some people walk barefoot, some people walk with their socks on, but you don't want to bring no broom or anything like that that's been in the day room, that's been down there in the toilet area, shower area, things of that nature. You don't want to bring none of that into the cell where you at because you try to get rid of germs. Because we already know prison is nasty. You can only be clean so much. So you just try to be much clean as you can.
And on that ID unit that you were sent to, right?
Right.
That you have a celly
Yes, I did.
and versus the other unit that you
Mhm.
have a celly on the other unit.
I did. It was like bunk. It wasn't a silly, but it was like a bunk. So it was like bunk and then another bunk and another bunk. So I mean, yeah, you could say it was a silly, but yes, I did.
Okay, so what was it like being on the ID unit with a celly? As far as the respect factor, because I understand that if it's an old school inmate in there, it's gonna be different
Right.
than being with an individual that just got there. So
Right.
how was it for you?
Uh, I was 24 years old when I got there the first time, and my celly was, if I can remember correctly, he was 32 years old. He was a Mexican dude. And he was real cool, man. He the one that kind of showed me and taught me the ropes of what to do with an ID unit with a celly and things like that. So the first thing he taught me was, of course, the respect factor. Boundaries. Once you set up your boundaries and your walls, then can't nobody cross them. But you got to stand on your principles. You got to stand on something because you can't let somebody call you the B word. And, excuse me. You can't you say don't call you no B word, and then you turn around and then let your friends or somebody like that call you the B word, and then it's gonna think everything they can call you that. So you have to stand on your boundaries and what you want to be as a man in there. So he taught me the respect factor. He taught me how to clean up. He also taught me really how to make food from a hot pot. Cause I wasn't a cook before I went in there, but you have to learn how to feed for your own. So he taught me how to, cook in the hot pot, how to plug it up, do all. He taught me everything like that. So, and I want to give a shout out to him too, man. I don't know if he gonna ever see this, but I'm gonna give him a shout out, man. His name is Zard. So he taught me everything when I first got there.
So uh what was it like for you going to the day room and interacting with the other inmates?
It was it was the same as I was when I first went to Gurney Unit. I didn't really talk. I didn't really say too much. I was really kind of sitting to the back and just kind of watching and see how everybody moves. So, and I wasn't really in tune with what was going on. I had a couple of people come up and ask me, "Hey, man, where you from? What you in for? Things of that nature." And you kind of talk a little bit and feel like vibes and energy, but other than that, my first day, I really wasn't talking too much. I took my shower about 7:38 and went right back in the cell.
Once again, real life people, real life stories, man. You can't get to nowhere else but here at the Ferguson Chronicle, man, where we keep it 110 all the way across the board. So let me ask this, D. So I always like to ask about inmate officer communication.
Okay.
Now, we're gonna start with the male officer.
Okay.
How was it for you, uh, as far as from a communication standpoint with the male officers on that unit?
It was Mine was always good because I was always raised on respect. So I would always say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. So that came natural to me. So it was never forced. And the communication level was good. I always said yes sir, no sir. I always kept it respectful. Because I didn't want to get in no trouble or anything like that. This is my first time, so I don't want to put a bad rep out there for myself or a bad name out there. So I always been respectful, and the communication level was good. It was never no disrespect, never anything like that. Nothing.
Okay, now what was it the communication level with female officers? Because I know, yeah. So you have to laugh at that. So now, because I know it's different in prison
Right,
when a female is involved,
right.
right? So how was it with you when the communication uh piece of it with you and the female officer? How did y'all get along?
I got along with female officers pretty good. They ask me questions too, like what you in here for, what happened, what you do, and why are you. The most question I got from a female officer is, "You're such a good person. Why are you in here?" And that was the most question that I got, and that would start every single conversation right there. And you know how it goes down there. Once you get one conversation and they like your energy, they like your vibe, it goes multiple times. Every time they come in, they want to talk, they want to get to know you a little bit better. So, and that's just how it was. I never had a problem with communication on that level with any female officer because I always kept it respectful too, even to the older ones. I always kept it respectful. I always said yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Even though sometimes they'll say something and I look at them like, real, like I look at them kind of crazy, but I always kept it respectful. I never called them out their name. I never said nothing like that. So I just kept it moving.
And let's talk about this here, man. As far as you being in the position you're in, right? With the 6 years you had,
Yes, sir.
if you can recall, what was your worst day in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice while you were serving that 6 year sentence?
My worst day, I can't even give you a worst day. I can give you my worst days. And my worst days was lockdown. Because once you're going through the process every day and you start getting familiar with things and you're moving here and you're moving there and you're going everywhere, like your mind starts to get away from where you're at, really, and you start to go to your day-to-day activities. So you start to free your mind from the prison system. But when you get on lockdown and you have to sit in that cell, see, luckily for mine at High Tower, it was only like a week and a half of lockdown, maybe two at the most, and then we're off. Um, but when you're sitting down there all day, every day, sun up to sundown, all through nighttime, and you can't move, and you just sitting in the cell, that can kind of get to you. It kind of get to the best of them, because you can't do nothing. There's only so much you can read. There's only so much you can do. There's only so many movies you can watch on the tablet. There's only so many phone calls you can make on the tablet. And before the tablet, it's difficult. There's only so many books you can do. So you just got to keep on going and free your mind. But them days right there, my first one, my first lockdown, that was horrible for me. I'm not gonna lie to you, that was horrible.
Yeah, tell me about it. I've been through a lot
That
of.
was horrible. That was horrible.
So, I like to ask this question, man, and because it's time don't wait on no man. Time is of essence. It don't wait on no man. And when we as people go to prison, things keep going.
Right.
People in the world keep living their life, right? So during your time, man, did you ever lose anybody?
Yeah, I did. And from relationship wise, of course, I was dealing with a female before I got locked up, and I lost her. And I don't blame her for what she did. Like you said, life goes on. Time waits for no one. Um, so it just kind of went that way. And when she left, it ain't gonna lie, it left a stain on me. It hurt me, but it made me who I am today, though. So I always give her a shout out, and I appreciate her for that. Um, on a family standpoint, I lost my grandma, I lost my aunt, and I lost my grandpa. They passed away. So that kind of hurts me still to this day, also because I never get a chance to see them again. Especially my grandma. That was my heart. That was my soul right there. I used to always go over to her house. Breakfast in the mornings, breakfast buffets, things of that nature. And so she would always say, "I can't wait for you to come home, baby. You're gonna be good. You're gonna be great." And the last thing I remember was she going to a football game, a Dallas Cowboy football game with my mom and my family and them. And then I just remember that next weekend I get a visit, a surprise visit from my mom and my dad, and they tell me my grandma passed away. So that, and that was 2000. I want to say 2021, maybe 22, somewhere off in there. So that kind of hurt. It still left a stain on me right there. It's still a hole right there that can't be filled.
And we handle things different, man. And I always ask this question, man, not to compare you with nobody else, but like I said, we all handle situations different. Some people have a black heart.
Right.
Some people adjust, and some people never adjust to the situation, and it cause them to do other things, right? So when you lost that important person in your life, man, how did you adjust from a mental standpoint to where you kept going?
Well, when I lost the female I was dealing with while I was locked up at the beginning, uh, I was I really had to learn how to stand on my own, as a man. And again, you know, I don't blame her for what she did. I was lying to her, so it was only right that I needed to step up as a man and to show what I can do on my own 2 feet, and also handling situations at a different standpoint. And when I lost my grandma, that was a dark time for me. I was man, I was acting out. I was acting an idiot. I was acting a village idiot, as the old school say. Um, I didn't want to listen to nobody. I was catching case after case. This was when I caught my first major case was after my grandma had passed away. Cause I didn't care about nothing. I didn't want to talk, so it didn't matter to me no more. Um, but till somebody set me down, man, and he told me, he said, it's easy to die, but it's hard to live. And when he told me that, I kind of looked at him like, "What do you mean?" It was like, you can sit here right now in this prison and continue what you've been doing, and you're gonna go down a wrong path, and you're gonna die." And he said, not literally, but you'll be a dead man walking because you have no understanding of life or what's going on. He said, but you can sit here and you can live for your grandma. And when you live for, that means you're gonna do everything right in your power to go back home, to get home, to do right for your family and your kids that you got. He said, so it's really your choice of what you want to do. But however, again, I'm gonna tell you this, and that's what he told me. He said, again, I'm gonna tell you this. It's easier to die, but it's hard to live. So you said you make that choice, but remember, choose wisely. Because every time you have a choice, you also have a consequence also.
So doing all that, when when the female decided, to go her way, and then that day came when you lost your grandmother, right?
Hmm.
And I asked this question for a real good reason, man, because I understand that a man's faith is tested
Yes.
in certain times,
Hmm.
whether he believe or whether he don't believe, right?
Hmm.
At any time and point during them 2 ordeals, did you ever feel like God wasn't present?
Yes, I did. I even stopped believing in God. I stopped for a minute. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and say I didn't. I did. Because after so many things that have happened, and going back to this is my first time being in any type of trouble like this, getting locked up, from this going on, from me losing her, to losing my grandma, to losing my auntie, to losing my grandfather, for me to getting set off on parole 3 times in a row. It was just like, man, it was so much going on at one time, and it's just like, ain't no way, ain't no way people talking about this magical God, and I'm still going through this. There's no way. I didn't believe it. I stopped believing in it. I stopped praying. I stopped doing all that because I'm like, ain't no way. Ain't no way you going through all this trouble, and then everybody says, just get on your knees and pray, and He'll make a way. I said, man, I ain't seen a way yet. So yes, I did stop believing.
And uh, at what time and point did you gather yourself and come to understand that there is a higher power?
Man, I came to myself in I want to say 2022 is when I sat down and I actually got myself together. After I want to say this was my second set off. My second set off, I finally got myself together and was like, I got to do better. I've been doing it my way, and it's not getting nowhere. So I have got to do better. And this the time right here, I had a long conversation with my mom. See, normally I talk to my mom about 10, 15 minutes over the phone, but it was just something about these phone calls right here, because I was on the phone with her for an hour, and we was going down through there, and I was talking to her about it. And she just kept telling me, baby, he never takes none of his soldiers through the toughest battle that they will never come from. And she said, and I can't don't quote me on the scripture. I can't remember the scripture off the top of my head, but I know it's in Jeremiah. And he said, for those that I have of you, that I will bring you out of captivity. And when she said that, I want to say that's Jeremiah 29 verse 11. I want to say that's what it is. And when she gave me that Bible verse, and when she said that, I went back and read it over and over so many times, and then everything started to come to me. Like, man, this is why you're locked up. This is what you need to change. This is what you need to do right here. This is what you got to do right here to be a better person. See, because it's not just for me no more. I have 4 kids. I got 2 sons and 2 little girls. It's not for me no more. It's not even for my mama no more. It's not even for my pops no more. It's for these babies now, for the future generations to go on. She said, so you got to be a better man for them to continue to grow, so you can teach them, so they won't have to walk through the same mistakes that you did. She said, because you wasn't listening when you was out here. You wasn't. So now when you're sitting down somewhere and you're captive and you can't go nowhere, you have to face all the demons and everything that has brought you to this point. She said, you're gonna go through everything in life until you change your mindset and your perspective on how you see things and how you view things and what you say. You know what I'm saying? So when mama told me this on the phone, and we kept on talking and going down through there about that, it hit me. And it didn't hit me soon as I got off the phone. So I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and say it did.
Yeah.
It took about a day or two, and then I start to realize and start to see things in another perspective, and I actually tried it, and ever since then, man, I've been going up. I've been intelligent ever since. So, and I always talking to my mama, I always talking to my pops, talking to my name, talking to my mimi, and I always talk to them about certain things and get their perspective on it, because they've been here longer than us. You always got to listen to the ones that came before you. You'll never be better than the originals because they came before you. They set the foundation for everything so you can achieve and be successful. So, and after that, man, that's when I came to the realization. I came back to the light.
So, sometime in life, man, we don't take accountability for the things we do, right?
Right.
So I take that as that was the day you took accountability for all the things that you did.
Yes, sir. All my life.
And so moving forward, man, walk me through some of the things you did to show actions versus you just thinking about it and talking about it.
Right.
What were some of the ways that you changed in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and you changed in that particular place in during your time there?
Well, for one, I took cognitive intervention. Got a certificate in that. Changed my mindset, thought patterns. Uh, I also did a class called Making Peace with Your Past. So you have to forgive your past and everything that you did, because your past is your past and not your future. So you have to get a better understanding of that. I did that class. Of course, I did changes. I did OSHA, and after them classes right there, I just stayed in books in the library. And then when a lot of people come to me and asking me questions, I try to give them the right guidance to go forward, and never give nobody the negativity of what I done came up under and what I was doing. And I also was around a lot of old schools, so they also taught me a lot too. And so then now, once I was getting ready to come out and I'm getting ready to hit 29, 30, I see 21-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds, they're coming into the system. And I didn't went from little bro to big bro in like that time span. So it's a time switch on it. So you have to give back. to the next generation. And I hate to say that, but we all know how life is. It's the next generation coming up in prison. So you have to tell them so you can reach one, teach one. And when you teaching them and you showing them the right way and how you're walking and how you're talking, and then that's when you got the wards that respect you, the majors that respect you, the lieutenants that respect you. Your name holds a lot of weight around the unit because you didn't gain that respect over the course of time. And from when you was it, from getting in trouble a lot to now who you are now, and they can see a difference. And then you sit in the day room, and they can come in there and they actually can come to you and tell you this. It holds a lot of weight for other people to listen to you. And so when that happened to me, that was just letting me know, like, hey man, you got to be a coach. And it's not a coach as in coaching basketball or football or baseball or nothing like that. It's just a coach of life to let somebody understand, like, hey, you're 21. You don't want to be down here at my age, hitting 30. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be down here 40, 50, 60 years old trying to come home, waiting on a parole answer or anything like that. You don't want to do that. So you're 21 right now. Stop. Stop what you're doing. Go a different route instead of going that same route that you've been going down, and it's not changing anything about it. It's not. So you want to get home to your people. You want to live life. So that was my steps and what I had to take to become not just talk that talk, but also walk that walk.
So for those that don't know, man, D had a 6-year sentence, man, and he did the whole 6.
Yes, sir.
And I want to get into that, right?
Okay.
What you think would have happened to you if you were allowed to be set free versus doing that whole 6-year sentence? What do you think would have happened?
I would have never learned what I learned now. I'd have never been the man who I am now. And it was crazy because I was telling somebody this before I left, and I said like each step that I took, if I would have went home this year, I wouldn't have acted right at all. I'd have went back doing the same thing I was doing before I got locked up. If I would have left this year, I'd have been doing the same thing I was doing before I got locked up because I didn't have a plan. It was just I'm gonna go home, and I figured out when I get there. I don't care about nothing else. That was my mindset of what I was thinking. And I also said also if I didn't go to prison at all and would have beat, of course, beat my charge or beat the case or anything like that, I would have never been who I am now. I'd have been far worse off. Instead of doing 6 years, I probably would have been doing 20, maybe 25. So it was an eye opener for me. And it's a lot of things though. I didn't want to go to prison, but I needed to go to prison. So I needed to learn something. I need to find out who I am, to tap into myself, to be the man that I need to be. So I'm not happy about the 6 years, but I'm happy about the 6 years. And that's a contradiction of to a lot of people gonna be like, huh? That don't make sense. But in order to understand it, you would have to go through that. Or in order to understand it, you would have to comprehend what I'm saying. And that was that was an eye opener for me. And I'm kind of glad I went through that experience to have a better understanding now at the age of 30 that life is full of memories, man. You got to make memories with the people that you love and make the most of the opportunities that you get.
And you know, I always like to paint a picture because everybody got a different canvas, right?
Right.
And we all use different paint.
Okay.
Some paint stand out, some paint don't even break the canvas, right?
Right.
So let me ask you, uh, 6 years, ex-department of criminal justice, right?
Okay.
What is the one thing that you brought back with you from a mental standpoint from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice?
TLR, MLK, trust, loyalty, respect, and move like a king. That's what I brought back. Why? Because I had to learn that. I had to learn to be trustworthy. I had to learn to be loyal, and I had to learn to be respectful. Because it's a different type of trust, loyalty, respect when you're down there. And you have to move like a king. That means you got to be a man about your business. You have to stand on business and move like a king. So that's the one thing, mental aspect that I have brought back that I am so hard on right now is Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. Don't, because this is my morals, my principles, and my values is trust, loyalty, respect. They're my core values right there, and that is what I stand on. So, and if you can't do this right here, then I advise you to please stay from around me.
And sometimes we use the word real. We use the word real.
Right.
People use that as if they're drinking the water and they throw it away, right?
Yes, sir.
So what does that word mean to you? Real.
Real. I mean, I can break it down, man. Real to me is really realizing everybody ain't loyal. So once you realize that and you have a better understanding that everybody is not on the same page as you, not everybody thinks like you, not everybody walks like you. Yes, we in white, yes, we got the same shoes on, but we walk different, we talk different. Yeah, we got the same view and seeing like the same things, but we still got different views and different perspectives on how we view things. And like my mom always told me, a picture will paint 1,000 words. Everybody have a different perspective of what this picture might say. You know, you might say it thinks whatever you might think. It just thinks something, and I'm gonna think something totally different from what it thinks of. So either we're gonna be like minded, and that's not to say you can't have people that's not like you, because some of that is good. But what you have to go off of also is the vibes and the energy. uh do they mean you any good? You know, do they bring your peace level down? Because it's all about peace. Will they bring it down or will they build you up?
So I want to touch on something, man, you said at the beginning of this interview, right?
Okay.
As far as you from a personal standpoint and your character, who you were before you went to prison, right?
Okay.
And you said it yourself that you was a liar,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And during that time, and you spent in that 6 years, things have changed for you from a personal standpoint, right?
Yes, sir.
But however, uh, the people that you lied to before you discharged that 6 year sentence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what would you say to them now? Because sometimes people mind not easy to change, especially when you've hurt that person. They
Right.
always they always look at you as that liar,
Yeah. You right.
right? So if you had to sum it up in one word, why those people should believe that you are who you say you are now, what would that word be?
Hmm. One word. My one word would be watch. That's it. I would tell them to watch. And when I say that is just watch how I am today. Don't judge me off of my past and what I done did. Never judge a man off of 9, 10, 11, 12 years ago. So just watch me from this day forward going. And they always say apology is change behavior. So that nobody wants to hear the apologies no more. They want to see your change behavior. So when I say that, that's why I say just watch. Just watch me now. You don't have to listen to what I say. Just watch me. Watch how I move. And I'm gonna let you come up with your own perspective of how you should view me.
Real life people, real life stories. You can't get that nowhere else here at the Ferguson Chronicle, man, where we keep it 110 all the way across the board. Nothing is ever scripted, right?
Yes, sir.
And I always like to touch on the real, man. And I always like to touch a person's heart. But I also like a person to touch other people's heart,
Yes, sir.
especially in this particular moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a man finds himself vulnerable. Why? Because you don't know what question I'm gonna ask, right?
Don't.
So I want to ask you this, man, because you brought up mama numerous of times, right? And mama is the first love. Before you loved any woman, you love mama,
Right.
right? So, and I know you probably had conversations with mama since you've been here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I like to ask you, man, is that if you and she's right there. If you had one word to describe the relationship that you and Mama have, what would it be?
One word. uh, that's a good one. One word. Well, I'm gonna say the first word that came to my mind. I'm gonna say fantastic. I got a fantastic relationship with my mom. Fantastic. She's been there through the ups and the downs. She's been there since, of course, the day I was born. She never missed a beat. Um, they always say, man, when you 18 years old, man, you getting out of mama house, it ain't none of your business no more. When I'm 30 years old, man, I'm here to tell you, man, mama still love you like you 5 years old, and it'll never go nowhere. So it's I got a fantastic relationship. She stuck by me when she didn't have to, you know. She put money on my books when she didn't have to. She could have washed her hands with me and said, he'll never learn, he'll never get it, he'll never understand. But she never did. She kept on going, she kept going, and when we get into it and we have our little disagreements and things, she still looks at me like that's still my baby. I'm still gonna tell him, even though he don't want to hear it, he might be mad at me. I'm still gonna tell him, So it just shows you that a mama's love is really nothing. Nothing can compare to a mama's love. So and that's why I say, man, our relationship is fantastic, man. And she gonna forever be the number one lady in my life. So can nobody replace that? That's mama. Uh, so yeah, man, we have a fantastic relationship.
Facts, man. Uh, so what I like to do, man, is always like people to do this, man, because there was a lot of people left us, right?
Right,
And at the same time, to be honest, we didn't leave those people that leave us, we left them, right?
right,
Because our actions took us other places, right?
right.
So at this particular time, man, for anybody that left you doing your 6 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, man, uh, how would you speak to that and speak to that person?
I still greet them with respect, and I never change on them or anything like that, because one thing about it, I am big on understanding. And I understand that back in the times of 2015, 16, 17, before I got locked up, that I wasn't the best. I wasn't the best version of me. I was I was the worst. So I believe when a lot of people be like, man, stick by him no matter what. But not people is not entitled to stick by you after you done them wrong so many multiple times. So they're not entitled to be there for you. So it was one of them, like, in time goes on. So it's just one of them that you just got to sometimes you got to put your pride to the side and you got to keep going, because they're not entitled. They're not. And so, with that being said, I would never ever treat them with disrespect. I would never ever sit there and talk down on their name. I would never do that, because that's not who I am. I don't even talk about my worst enemy. You'll never hear me talk about it, because I don't believe that that's going to help anything in life, is holding a type of grudge because somebody wasn't there for you in 6 years. But you have to look at what you did before you got locked up and why this person wasn't there for them 6 years. Not just because they wasn't there for you and then put $20 on the phone or $20 on your commissary books or something like that. But you got to look at what you did prior to that. That comes into effect. And the saying too, out of sight, out of mind. You know how that goes sometimes.
Facts. So, man, like I know, man, we got a coach out here, right?
Right,
With a real lack of understanding.
right.
And what I like for you to do at this time, man, is speak to the culture, man. This is your time. This is your platform. Speak to the culture, man, and let the people know what you feel like they should know, man. Especially the ones that's headed down the road to where you just come from.
Man, okay. first things first is I want to say to the culture, pick up a book, read, because that's where a lot of things is in a book that they don't want us to find out. And I'm a living witness, and I got testament to that. Pick up a book and actually read. Go get an education, go to school, do that. It's okay to be on the A and B honor roll. You rather be on the A and B honor roll than be in somebody's grave trying to be a gangster. Go be on the A and B honor roll. That's okay. It's okay to be the top notch in class and also be in the sports and to be the top one in football, basketball, baseball, soccer, anything like that. But not only don't just tap into sports, tap into being a doctor, being a lawyer, being a firefighter. Man, be a policeman for all I care, but do anything and everything not to go to the streets because it's not a place to go to. And it's going to lead you down two roads, man. And everybody's heard it before. It's going to be in prison and you're going to be dead. There's no other option after that. So my thing is, man, pick up a book, man. Go to school, learn something, listen to the OGs. Take heed to what they saying, man. You can learn anything from anybody. So don't be closed minded on another a race or what they're trying to tell you because they might try to help you so you can go back and give it back to your culture. You never know, so you just have to take heed and listen to a lot of different things, but at the same time, you got to dissect what is being told towards you, so that's the number one thing I say, man. Go to the library, man. Read, read, read. That is the number one thing I'm gonna always tell people, man. Read, 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 because that's gonna teach you a lot.
So, man, also what I like to do, and I do this with everybody, man, as we as we get ready to close, always allow that person to close on any note they want to close it on. Give a
So,
shout out to anybody they want to give a shout out to, man, because like I said, this is the people's channel, and without the people, it wouldn't be no channel, right?
yes, sir.
And so at this time, man, that's what I want you to do. Close the show. Any note you want to close it on, give a shout out to anybody that you want to give a shout out to, whether they incarcerated, whether they free, whether they was with you, or whether they wasn't with you.
Okay. First and foremost, man, I want to give a huge shout out to God for making the opportunity to be able to be on this show. I want to give a shout out to OG Hollywood, man. I salute you, man, for appreciating me, for letting me come on the show. And I want to give a shout out to my mom, my dad, my nanny, my Mimi, of course, my uncle. I want to give a shout out to my boy Travis. He's been there too, also. Helping me every step of the way, different types of things. Also, I want to give a shout out to my boy Big Tyler down there, Uncle Junior. Give a shout out to my Uncle Rambo. Um, people like that, man. And don't hold it to my heart. If I ain't give you a shout out, man, I hold it to my heart, man. Just hold it to my mind, man, because I can't get to everybody, but just know that I'm thinking about y'all, man, and I love each and every one of y'all, man. So I appreciate the opportunities and the growth that's still coming.
Hey, man, like I said, man, that was 60 hard way, but it was a good way.
Yes, sir.
And what I like to call expensive pain, man,
Very expensive.
because most things in life that are expensive, we only buy them one time.
Right. Right.
In other words, what I'm saying, it shouldn't take you twice to understand that this is not where you belong, right?
Right.
I appreciate you coming on here telling your story, man.
Yes, sir.
It's one thing that live on in life, man, and that's a man's story. Even after you gone, your
Yup.
story will still be here.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate you for stopping by, giving it, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for having me.
Ain't no problem, man. This is the people's channel, man. Without the people, it wouldn't be no channel.
That's right. That's right. I like that.
Yeah, I'm just a vessel, man.
Right.
You know, I am just a mere vessel, man. So with that being said, I always tell anybody that come here, man, because without these two things, you cannot accomplish nothing in life.
Okay.
One, stay up,
Yes, sir.
and the other one is stay free.
Yes, sir.
Until next time, man, salute.
Yes, sir. Salute.
Once again, man, real live people, real live story. If you can't get that nowhere else, we're here at the Ferguson Chronicle, man, where we keep it 110 all the way across, man. Expensive pain, I like to call it, man. And you heard it from the horse's mouth, man. Man, never ever been convicted. His first time, 6 years, but he did it like it was 60. But he learned from it and understood what it takes to stay free. Stay up and stay free, man. Salute.